Today I woke up and I primed myself for an awesome day. I laid in bed and I envisioned each of the different things I was going to do, and I felt such a feeling of joy and ecstasy imagining them. And I'm glad I did that, because those were some wonderful feelings to start my day with. When I went into my day and I just did one of those things, just completed one of those events, and I left not with those feelings. Really glad I had them this morning. And I want to talk with you today about the other side of joy, just like the dark side of the moon, working with the wholeness of all of my emotions, welcoming all of my emotions, because that for me is part of my joy. That for me is truly the joy of welcoming myself in the fullness of who I am, including my human experience of having feelings of discontent and pain and discomfort. I'm Kristin Collier, and I'm a writer and a coach supporting people in accessing their ever-present wellspring of joy. I usually say that with a lot more oomph. I can't help laughing about it. There's still that part of me that bounces like a cork, even though there are these feelings also of ugh. So I work in a field serving kids who are neurodiverse, and I want to protect that confidentiality. So I won't say anything specific about my day. And the beauty of this work of embracing my emotions, especially grounded in the work of needs that are connected with nonviolent communication, needs versus strategies, that was started by Marshall Rosenberg in the 1960s. The beauty of it is that when I just share my needs and I feel through my feelings, then I can take you with me on my journey. And I don't even have to tell you specific observations of what happened. And that's pretty cool if you think about it, because that means you can talk about your feelings with pretty much anyone that you choose to, without actually perpetuating or creating a story about somebody else. It does take some mindfulness, though, in terms of pausing and reflecting how I want to begin with a phrase that would help me connect with those feelings that are uncomfortable. Right now they're like really right there. Ugh. Okay, so that's where I'm going to start is, first of all, I'm sitting underneath an apple tree. My apple tree. I love this apple tree. I say my because I have a relationship with her. We go way back. In fact, I planted that apple tree, but she grew a while before I met her. So anyway, I'm sitting under an apple tree because when I come into nature and align myself with the ground beneath me, I automatically have a sense of wholeness, not only within myself, but with the earth around me. And that is a sense of discontent, of content and of holding that are hard for me to achieve in human-built structures. So recognizing that and appreciating that. Oh. And now I've got these feelings coming up. And they're just like this kind of tension and wave that's coming up from like the middle of my stomach, my abdomen, like my middle abdomen, and moving up into my shoulders and into my throat and into the back of my head and my face. There's like almost tears there, but not quite. And I'm just being with the sensation. Breathing into it, welcoming it to be in me, seeing if I want to move at all. Oh, there's those tears again. That exhale moved some through me. On my bike ride home, I knew that I wanted to share this with you, and so I, as I had in the classroom, asked those feelings to kindly wait for me, because I would be there to fully feel them. And they did, and I'm so grateful to be sitting with them now, really sitting with that discomfort. Breathing into it, not turning away, just being right there with them. Right there with the sensations in my body. Connecting to my being without thinking any thoughts about what happened, just noticing the physical sensations. Now I notice that deeper in my belly and my abdomen, there's kind of a softness and a warmth, and that warmth, it's not so much a tightness now, it's more of a warmth that's moving up through my abdomen and into my arms, my shoulders. It still feels kind of, like there's something caught right here, right before my throat. And I just want to welcome it. I don't want to turn anything away. I'm not breathing into it to soften it. I'm just breathing into it to meet it. To meet, to encounter, really to love my human experience. It moved through. There's a lot. Now it's like more up in the back of my throat. The rest of my body is feeling really, it's like kind of vibrating softly. The back of my head, up into the center of my head, loving that. Yeah. So that welcoming, just being with myself, is the first step that I want to take with myself in welcoming this experience. And next I want to check in with myself about what needs of mine are really alive and vibrating in this. There's some sadness. There's also some acceptance, like a need for acceptance that's really met because I accept that things happen the way they did. And that each person involved had their own experience and was on their own trajectory and their own learning. And yet there's a little sadness or disappointment that I didn't experience that sense of like, needs met for everyone. And I often do. So there's a little touch of that celebration that is so often my experience, and today it was not. Not entirely. There were parts of it that kind of were, actually. And so I'm also, realizing that there was a whole experience there. That some parts of it were, which I wasn't really noticing so much when I had so much feeling and emotion up inside of me. And now I'm feeling curious. Actually, I'm not really having a need come up as not being met. I mean, I definitely have a need to contribute that I'm connecting with. I wouldn't say that it's like not met, but I'm just connecting with it, like that's alive in me. I would say that when I left the classroom, it was definitely not met. I was experiencing it as not met. Right now, I'm just experiencing how important contribution is to me, how much I love it. I'm not even in a place where I'm judging whether it's not met or met, because I really don't know in the big picture, in the grand scheme of things. It may be that what happened totally contributed to other people, because, we're each on our own path, and when things don't go the way that we want, I mean, it happens when I was on my way home on my bicycle, and I had the idea of sharing this with you. I mean, this is meeting more needs for me. The whole situation is meeting more needs for me now that I get to share this part of my process. Because so often I'm talking about the joy or the fear, and there's actually like some grief that really came up for me today. Yeah, some sadness. got the edge of touching some feeling of that right now. So a lot of this is about slowing down and feeling into our words, giving ourselves that space, even if it's in self-empathy right now, although I would think that I could call this also empathy, because I am trusting you are out there holding space for me right now. Or you might be bored out of your mind, who knows? All things are possible, and I accept that whatever is happening is out there to meet the most needs. I mean, I just want to put this out there because I think it's really valuable to know that this is part of my process of joy, for me, for you. So touching in with the needs right now, my need for contribution is met, imagining this video going out. My need for self-connection is definitely met. I'm self-love too. Self-love, really, holding space. And not only self-love, but also love in general, really appreciating the space around me. This beautiful, beautiful, life-filled world of beings. My plum tree is next to me on that side. My asparagus over there. The asparagus. The asparagus calls me, they say my Kristin is over there. I love Robin Wall Kimmerer's point that if we love our garden so much, why would we think it doesn't love us back? And so part of me right now is really receiving that love. Yeah, feeling really tender in receiving that love and knowing that even as I leave a situation that's painful for me, that there is love surrounding me on the bike ride home. There's love even for me in that space in the classroom. There's love here with all of these wonderful beings that I have relationships with in my, what I call my yard and garden, but this space, this piece of earth that I have a relationship with. And I'm really blessed with the love of the Joy Collective too, which happens for me tomorrow. I'm excited to see people tomorrow. And that community is amazing. If you haven't checked out the Core Alignment with Joy series on my website, it definitely has a lot of these practices that I'm talking about today, of feeling the feeling all the way through without judgment or thoughts, and finding the needs underneath. And once folks have gone through that Core Alignment with Joy series, then they can join us in the Joy Collective that meets weekly, and what an amazing community. So yeah, again, gosh, I'm really getting tender about that. My needs for community are so met, and support, because we really show up the way that we are in that, and I'm so grateful. And not only do we show up in the way that we are, but we show up in the way that we are fully trusting that there are people there who can support us in going through challenging stuff in the way that is most loving to ourselves and to others, and using our tools to engage in that, because every single one of these moments is an opportunity to become more deeply who we are, to bring our feelings and being out into the world, into our bodies, to connect with our bodies, and then this place in our breath where we connect with the world around us, the living world around us. So I thank you so much for coming on this journey with me today. And if you enjoyed this session, like, share, subscribe. There are lots of more sessions that are more jubilant than this one today, and yet in a way Maybe there's nothing, well, maybe there's no difference in jubilance between our emotions that are pure and grieving, pure in the sense that we're not popping back and forth into just head space. I think it's this beautiful synthesis of head and heart and whole being, whole body being, to experience our emotions in a way that's vital and loving to ourselves and the world. So yeah, like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much for being here. This is kind of a long one. I'm going to grant myself that and trust that you will care for yourself the way that meets your needs in terms of watching. Be well. Have a beautiful day.